He didn't mean to let the screen door slam. The noise reverberated through the quiet suburban neighborhood, a familiar sound soon to be forgotten. But the image of the man's silhouette, backlit by the kitchen light, would burn in the mind of anyone who caught a glimpse. For nearly 4 decades, he blended into the background, unnoticed, unremarkable. Until the truth emerged, he was the Golden State Killer. Eleanor was a spirited woman in her early 30s, known for her infectious laugh that could brighten even the gloomiest of days. She had a knack for making people feel at ease, often hosting gatherings filled with music and joy. Her beloved golden retriever Max was her constant companion, following her with a wagging tail wherever she went. On a chilly evening in February 1978, Eleanor took Max for a last-minute walk around their quiet neighborhood in Sacramento. The streets were familiar, safe, or so everyone thought. As Eleanor strolled under the amber glow of the streetlights, she hummed a melody from a favorite tune. Max trotted happily beside her, sniffing and exploring. This was their nightly ritual, a peaceful way to end the day before retreating to the warmth of their cozy home. But that serenity shattered when Max's gentle growl turned into a frantic bark. Eleanor barely had time to react before an unknown assailant emerged from the shadows, wearing a ski mask that obscured his face. The night turned into a nightmare. Local authorities were initially baffled by the crime that followed. The attacker, dubbed the East Area Rapist, had struck before, leaving a trail of fear and confusion. In Eleanor's case, like many others, there were few leads. The police found little evidence, just the eerie silence of the neighborhood and the haunting memories of those who lived nearby. Max returned home alone, scratching at the door, a silent witness to the terror that had unfolded. The community was gripped by fear. Women no longer felt safe in their own homes. Men took to walking in pairs, wary of the lurking danger. That year, the police received a chilling number of reports, each more disturbing than the last. The assailant was methodical, almost clinical in his approach, leaving as little evidence as possible. Victims recounted the same unnerving details. A masked man, a flashlight blinding their vision, soft, calm whispers threatening violence if they didn't comply. But always, he left no trace. The case grew cold, files gathering dust as the calendar pages turned. But the memories of those nights lingered, especially for the survivors. They lived with the knowledge that he was still out there, somewhere in the shadows. Investigators worked tirelessly, yet each lead crumbled into dust. Each tip led to a dead end. It seemed as though the man had vanished into thin air, leaving only terror in his wake. Years passed, and the East Area Rapist faded from the headlines, but the fear remained etched in the minds of those who had lived through his reign of terror. Then, in the late 1980s, a similar series of crimes surfaced hundreds of miles south. This time, the perpetrator was nicknamed the original Night Stalker. Families were attacked in their homes, couples brutally murdered in a pattern that mirrored the earlier assaults. Investigators began to suspect a connection, but lacked the evidence to confirm it. In 2001, a breakthrough occurred. DNA technology, still in its relative infancy, linked the crimes of the East Area Rapist and the original Night Stalker. The realization that they were dealing with one monstrous individual, responsible for a spree of violence spanning more than a decade, was both astonishing and horrifying. But even with this revelation, the identity of the killer remained a mystery. What investigators discovered next would change everything. We will get to that. In the thick of the investigation, detectives pieced together common threads, building profiles and mapping crime scenes. They worked tirelessly, combing through files, re-interviewing witnesses, and comparing notes across jurisdictions. The trail, once cold, now simmered with potential. Yet each promising lead ended in frustration. The assailant seemed to vanish into the night, his existence marked only by the devastation he left behind. With the linkage established between the East Area Rapist and the original Night Stalker, investigators intensified their efforts. The task force expanded, drawing on expertise from seasoned veterans and fresh-eyed recruits eager to delve into the unsolved cases. Forensic teams re-examined evidence with new technology, hoping to find a clue that had previously gone unnoticed. The DNA match, while groundbreaking, only confirmed their worst fears. It did not identify the killer. In a desperate bid for a breakthrough, the FBI turned to the public. They released a summary of the crimes, sketches, and a chilling audio recording of the perpetrator's voice captured during a taunting phone call. The recording, a rewatch moment, sent shivers down the spine of anyone who listened, the calm yet menacing tone echoing the terror he had inflicted. Despite media attention and public appeals, the case stalled. The task force received thousands of tips, each scrutinized meticulously but leading nowhere. Investigators sifted through haystacks of information, hoping to find the proverbial needle. The elusive nature of the suspect, who had seemed to adapt his MO to elude capture, suggested someone with a deep understanding of police procedures. In 2018, a pivotal turn occurred. Investigators, inspired by advances in genetic genealogy, pursued an unconventional path. They uploaded the DNA profile of the killer to a public genealogy database, hoping to match it to a distant relative and work backward. The method, while ingenious, was fraught with ethical and legal hurdles. Nevertheless, it offered a glimmer of hope in a case that had seen too few. The trail blazed slowly at first. Lab specialists cross-referenced genetic markers with millions of profiles, narrowing potential family trees. Days turned into weeks as a pattern emerged. Suddenly, a name surfaced: Joseph James DeAngelo. An ex-police officer, DeAngelo fit the profile in chilling detail. The stark reality that a former law enforcer might have perpetrated such heinous crimes shook the investigators to their core. Surveillance on DeAngelo commenced, with detectives watching his every move, hoping to collect a discarded item for DNA comparison. They finally obtained a sample from his car door handle. The match was irrefutable. DeAngelo's DNA aligned perfectly with the samples from the crime scenes, a striking rewatch moment that confirmed the worst suspicions of the task force. The arrest, when it came, was swift and quiet. Neighbors in Citrus Heights saw the man they knew as a grumpy retiree led away in cuffs, unaware of his dark past. The reveal electrified the nation. DeAngelo, the Golden State Killer, had lived among them, hidden in plain sight, a master of deception. The most shocking element was not just his identity, but his history. DeAngelo had patrolled the streets as a cop during his crime spree, using his knowledge of police work to avoid detection. This revelation sent shockwaves through the criminal justice community and forced a closer examination of cases involving law enforcement. The courtroom became the stage for an unrelenting pursuit of justice. Victims and their families faced DeAngelo, recounting their harrowing experiences in emotional testimonies that spanned weeks. His silence only deepened the anguish, the absence of remorse, a chilling testament to his character. Today, Joseph DeAngelo sits in a cell, serving multiple consecutive life sentences. His capture closed a dark chapter in California's history, yet questions remain. How could someone evade capture for so long, living under the radar of suspicion? What drove him to commit such monstrous acts? One haunting question endures. How many others remain out there, their crimes undiscovered, their identities concealed by time and shadow? As society grapples with these specters, the legacy of the Golden State Killer lingers, a chilling reminder of the evil that can hide in plain sight.